Well, hello, everybody. Excuse me. I just drank something. I hope that you're doing well, man. Wow. Just had a drink of this and probably like note to self. Don't drink something right before you're about to go on live. Hit the like button. I'd really appreciate it as I catch my breath, as we're going to be talking about evangelism and a number of other things. But I would really like to focus today to be on evangelism. We're going to focus in on our very own good friend of Apologia Center, Wes Huff. So I'm just, every time I see Wes on, just online generally, but every time I see him definitely on a huge platform, I'm enthusiastic. So happy for him because, and you'll hear this from a lot of Wes's friends, that he happens to, he happens to be the right guy for the moment. He really does. There's just a number of things about Wes's personality and his character that make him right. That make him right to be on these podcasts. The way he handles himself in a conversation, and then the clarity at which he presents the gospel at. So really appreciate that. Love that. Drop a comment, say hello, say what's going on. Like, our very own Tom's in the house says, hello, people of God, and hello to the heathens joining today. Maybe there are some heathens. Feel like dropping an obligatory Liverpool comment. Can't think of anything funny. I don't know. Maybe you can be like, hey, champions of England. Might be something you might want to say, but that's fine. It's okay. Put your comments down. I got one part of this. So here's I don't know if you've watched the podcast. It is 3 hours and 12 minutes long, and it is worth watching or listening to it, okay? Really, really well done. I'm looking at the numbers right now. 2 days ago, it's got 886,000 views. 2 days ago. I'm just going to compare it to his other guests. Yeah, like he's doing, it's better than a video he posted 8 days ago. It's better than a video 2 weeks ago. He had Pete Buttigieg on. That's got 3 weeks ago, 1.3 million. So let's actually pull this up for you guys. I mean, Triple H, 1.1 million. Wes Huff, 887,000. That's a month ago. My guess is Wes gets past that. I mean, that seems to be a higher mark, right? Like 1.3, 1.1, 1.1. 1 million. But if you're considering like 2 months ago, look at that. Wes does better. 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 Anything that doesn't have 1 million views, Wes has more. That is such good news for the Christian gospel. You guys understand that? Like, there seems to be very clearly an interest in having conversations about Christianity and the Bible. I mean, Bible expert on which Christianity is true, the Book of Enoch, so on and so forth, right? They talk about a lot of different stuff. They kind of all over the place. So it's cool. I mean, I've looked at Wes's numbers on the Rogan podcast. It's like above 6 million last I checked. And again, very, very few guests had outperformed Wes. So I'm just super happy that Wes is going on and this stuff's happening. So good stuff. Wes is a friend of the channel. He's subscribed to this channel. Like, you need to subscribe to this channel. If Wes Huff is subscribed to this channel, you got to subscribe to this channel if you're not subscribed. He's been a guest on our channel, so I'm glad. I mean, my interview with Wes Huff doesn't have 887,000 views, but it's ironically it just doesn't have a lot. It's just hilarious. Maybe I should re-upload it. No, I'm just. West Side is the best side. That's right. I enjoyed the whole 3 hours and 12 minutes. Yeah, it was really, really good conversation. David sent me a video about this 15 minutes ago, and here you are streaming about it. No, that's well. I'm gonna. There's an argument that it's not Wes that makes the argument. It's Andrew Schultz that makes the argument, and that's what I've noted. So I want to speak about. Andrew makes an argument. Again, I don't know how familiar he is with kind of the apologetics conversations, all that stuff. I was gonna say, if you guys have something that about the conversation that you think I should comment on, send it to me. Like, tell me the timestamp. We'll look at it. But again, I want to talk about evangelism. So I'll start off by saying this. There was nothing in this conversation, this 3-hour conversation, that I haven't heard before in regards to a question or a response. And that was refreshing. I'll tell you why. This is the reason. Because the guys that were sitting with Wes, and sorry, I don't know all the names, but the guys that were sitting with Wes were asking the normal questions your average person asks when it comes to a conversation about Christianity. This seemed like if I were to spark up a conversation at Starbucks with, 3-4 guys, these are the sort of, almost identically, these are the sort of questions that your normal average person who's not consuming hours and hours of Christian apologetics material on the internet would ask. Simple. Simple as that. So that was refreshing to me, and I really enjoyed that because it was just a normal conversation. The questions weren't overly complicated and philosophical and, the sort of stuff that I think you get within a certain kind of niche, with a certain kind of personality, within a certain kind of interest, versus like you're just average person. So, I really enjoyed that. Tell me what you guys enjoyed if you watched this. Tell me what you liked about it. Just thought that coincidence was funny, that's all. Oh, okay. Cool. Jacob is saying, hey, asking for prayers for my family. If you brethren are willing, having a baby tomorrow and have a close family member pass away today. I'm sorry to hear that, brother. Yes. Well, let me just say a prayer. Father, I pray for Jacob and his family, and may your spirit draw them close to you and comfort everyone, God, with the loss of this family member. We'll also pray for a safe delivery and in a very bitter, sweet way, that there be joy with the arrival of this baby, Lord. In the name of Jesus we pray. Amen. So, I really enjoyed that. So I want to cue this up. Hit the like button. Come on, you guys. Hit the like button. Before we cue it up, I got a couple of things to announce. We are partnering with our friends at Logos Bible Software. I love this software. You guys know I love Logos Bible Software. Before this partnership, I've been using Logos since Logos 5. I remember buying Logos 5, and it was the silver package at the time where I bought it, and carried me through not all of my Bible college, some of my Bible college, seminary, just ministry, generally speaking. I can guarantee, for those who prepare messages and sermons and teachings and all that stuff, I can guarantee studying with Logos is going to reduce your prep time by 50%. I can almost guarantee you that. That's what it does for me. 50% less time spent just using the software. Now, we've partnered with them. So if you now go to logos.com/Apologia Center, which the link is in the description box, you can get a free 60-day trial. So go check it out. Use the software. See if you like it. If you like it, continue using the software. It's essentially like 3 cups of coffee, depending on what you're drinking, a month. So it's well worth it for the software. And then you can build your own library and have the freedom to do all of those things. It's what you see on the screen when I have the Bible up. And you can get various tools and all that stuff. So we've partnered with Logos Bible Software. Finally, kind of more long-term partnership here in the works. And so again, go to logos.com/Apologia Center. Use it for 60 days for free. If you don't like it, stop using it. If you like it, continue using it. It's a way for you to support the work that we're doing. But also, like, I just love the software. I've recommended the software without any of those things. So go check it out, folks. Let's go. Jump into this. Let's jump into this. Abirada, how are you doing? Is there a religion? Is there religion in the afterlife? Do we have certainty what happens when we die? Yes, we have certainty that we will be with Christ. Those of us who've given our lives to Jesus. For those who haven't given their life to Jesus, there will not be. I don't know what you mean by will there be a religion in the afterlife? I mean, because I don't know how you're defining religion. Like, so in what way? In one way, I can say yes. In another way, I can say no to this. Do we have certainty? Again, depends on how you want to be. If you use that word certainty in a very highly philosophical way, I can say no. If you use that word certainty in the way that your average common person is using it, I'd say yes. We have certainty because of what the Bible teaches in regards to what happens in the afterlife, but not an exhaustive list of what happens in the afterlife. But overall, Thomas, I think the question is a strange one. I have no idea what you just posted. Oh, okay, that's probably the conversation with Wes. Okay, let's see what Tom said. Tom said, one thing that's interesting was the part where they asked, wouldn't the locals have known of the Immaculate Conception? And Wes said, not really. Forgot the context, but it was weird. Yeah, I don't know what timestamp that was, Tom. If you want to give me a timestamp. Why would that be weird? Okay, so I think I remember I don't remember the timestamp, but I remember, I think the conversation had to do with being in Bethlehem and in Nazareth. Like, he grew up in Nazareth. And I think the reason why Wes said not really is because they moved to Nazareth. Bethlehem's where like it all goes down early in the story, and then he's like, they would not have necessarily known because they weren't there during those events. That's what my guess would be in regards to the answer he's given. Okay, so here's what I have queued up. This is Andrew Schultz. Andrew Schultz is talking about sort of the reliability of the Bible. I think it's a very interesting and commonsensical argument he presents.
Could you argue that there is credibility in the authenticity of the Gospels because
the Gospels?
The Gospels.
Those are my favorite.
Me too. It's a cereal. Because there are differing accounts. Like if every account was identical, you don't need 4 accounts.
Yeah.
The fact that they differ slightly and they don't make the changes to make them match up offers more authenticity to me.
Well, I would say
So this is an argument that J. Warner Wallace regularly brings up. J. Warner Wallace is a cold case detective. He does Christian apologetics as well. But he says, look, whenever we go into a case, whenever we go into interviewing the witnesses, if the account of the witnesses align exactly the same way, it is immediately suspect because it seems like it's a rehearsed story. But if they have these differences in regards to points of views, kind of people's interpretations of reality and stuff like that, that aren't contradictory, they're just differences in views and retelling of the story, then that gives more credibility to the witnesses and to the situation, the story that's taken place. And that's what Andrew is really going on. He's saying, listen, these differences we see in the Gospels, to him, seem to be the thing that leads to credibility. And they didn't go in there and erase stuff out and take them out and make a match 1-to-1. And then you just get one story there, which would be really strange. Then it's kind of pointless having 4. You just have 1. But I think that's a very, very good observation. But again, common sense. You don't need degrees in it. You just got to pay attention to how reality works.
Like if you're gonna change it, change it.
It's sort of like the headspace of like if you're like sort of cheating on a test or like
Yeah, you have to make one thing wrong to make it not look like you got it.
Yeah, I guess you can make it so like
no, I don't mean it that way. I mean it almost in the way that you're correct. I've never thought about it that way.
Because the criticism from the outside is, hey, they're just changing these things to make it look the best so that they can exert power and influence over the people that they rule.
Right.
That's the outside perspective from like an atheist, perhaps. And on the societal utility, or not even societal, but like how the power structure uses religion, right? So, but I'm like, okay, well, that's not a really good one if you're putting quote unquote mistakes or differences. You're like, unless they thought it was important to maintain the authenticity of these stories, so they left them in there despite the differences.
Well, if they all said the same thing,
That's brilliant. Okay, they left them in there because it's authentic. Why would you change stuff up if you're presenting an inauthentic story, right? You would change it up, essentially, was what his argument is. If you're presenting a fake story, you change it up. But he goes, for the reason that they've left these differences in there. And these differences could be numbered, you guys. It's left in there because they're the actual retelling of the stories. Again, very simple point. It's not that complicated in regards to the observation that he has here, but it's extremely important to the reliability of, let's just say, the Gospels in this case. Okay, let's just say the Gospels. And if the Gospels are reliable, that doesn't necessarily equal they're the Word of God, but if they're reliable, they're credible. And if they're credible, then you should pay quite a bit of attention to them. So I think that's a really good observation. It's interesting to me that I watched this whole thing and I really, really enjoyed it. And Wes did a great job presenting all the sort of stuff. But here's where, in my opinion, a conversation is going really well. When the people who are disagreeing with you and you're having a conversation with start figuring stuff out themselves and saying, wow, like, wouldn't this be the case? Essentially making a case for your position. And I think that's what's going on here. I think kind of the wheels are turning. He's thinking about it. He goes, yeah, this would be an authentic sort of thing. If it was different, it would be inauthentic for what people are demanding, right? This perfect uniformity in regards to the way the Gospels are written. The fact that they're not perfectly uniform is an argument for their authenticity and their reliability. So tell me what you guys think about that. Okay. Reliability means that they're largely like reliable. They're actually telling you what the stories actually took place. Like they're conforming to the real events that took place. That's the way I'm using reliability there. Yeah, I wouldn't know much about that. I did watch Gavin's conversation with Jacob. Not this Jacob, the other Jacob. Gavin Ortland had a really good conversation with Jacob, I think, about Mormonism. I got opinions on it, but I'm not yet going to share those opinions. Not yet. But I will one of these days. Well, that's not true. So I would like to know how many of you guys actually watch this this podcast. Do you want me to link that as well? Sure, why not? For those who haven't seen it, hey, we here enjoy promoting other Christians as well. So since we're doing that, because I have another link dropped in the comment in the description box, and that link is to a debate masterclass done by the one, the only Nate Sala from The Wise Disciple. And here's what Nate says about this debate course that he's put together. Check it out.
Thank you so much for considering this debate training. I'm so excited to share this with you. I've been working on this behind the scenes for over a year, making sure that it provides high value to everyone who goes to the series, and I believe this is going to bless you as well. Now, maybe you're somebody who has always wanted to engage in formal debates, but lack the tools to do so effectively. Well, this series is for you. But maybe you don't want to get on stage. You just want to be able to articulate your beliefs clearly. Maybe you've been challenged on your convictions and you want the tools to communicate effectively. Well, this is also for you. My name is Nate Sala, and I want to introduce you to my debate masterclass. This is more than just a course. It's a journey to sharpen your reasoning, build your confidence, and communicate the truth effectively, whether in formal debates or everyday conversations. In this masterclass, you're going to learn how to construct logical, compelling arguments for debates and personal conversations, how to deconstruct any argument and determine strengths and weaknesses, how to remain calm, persuasive, and respectful under pressure, and of course, my personal favorite, how to cross-examine anyone using my 3-step method. Look, you don't need to be a scholar, a professional speaker, or even someone interested in formal debate. You just need a willingness to learn. Like I said, this training is designed for everyone, whether you want to compete in debates, defend your faith in academic settings, or simply feel more prepared for tough conversations with friends and family. And this is just the beginning. I'm 100% committed to equipping followers of Jesus Christ with the tools they need to be the effective Christians that they were meant to be. So if you're a fan of my YouTube channel, well, then this means I'm going to show you how I do what I do so well. That's why I'll be rolling out even more advanced training in the future, covering a wide range of topics, including discipleship, theology, apologetics, and even Bible study. And of course, I'd love to add more advanced training in the area of debate. So if you're...
So Nate's got that masterclass he's put together. The link to that is in the description box. I'm going to pump that out because I like Nate and I think he does really good work. And go check it out if you want to learn how to debate. And yeah, I mean, look, maybe too much emphasis is put on formal debates. But one of the things you'll figure out if you do formal debates is how to have better informal conversations. how I do what I do. Well, it's a bore and a flex. Low key. Low key, that's a flex. I watched the whole Flagrant podcast. Akash seemed very bitter and hurt. Yeah, I noticed that. That was interesting. Didn't add much to the convo, but at least gave Wes some opportunities to differentiate Jesus from an Eastern guru. Really good point. His last the conversation ends with him saying like "see you in hell" or something, and I don't understand. I mean, there might be personal reasons for this happening. Wes was just trying to communicate, like, hey man, Hinduism is as exclusive as Christianity because you disagree with all the claims of Christianity. It shouldn't be that complicated, right? Or you disagree with the major claims of Christianity that are disagreements that are very important and serious disagreements. So therefore, you can't turn Jesus into Eastern guru. And he was very defensive. I caught that as well. It was very interesting. And again, there could be personal stuff that's happened in his life that we don't. Yeah, he said, I'm very disappointed. She said, Agape says, I'm very disappointed when he said that he feels further away from being Christian after this conversation. I pray the Lord. Yeah, so I don't buy that. I'll tell you why. Because he's probably already away from Christianity. Maybe one of the reason why saying that is because some of the stuff that he didn't know about is becoming more clarified. And because it got clarified, he's having that kind of a reaction. I mean, essentially, look, you can't. I don't know why people do this with Christianity, where they'll go to Christianity and they'll try to reimagine it according to their own views, according to their own religion. And then when you tell them, no, you can't do that, they get like all hurt about it. Oh, you guys are being so like this. And well, you don't have a right to go to someone else's worldview that's been developed, right or wrong. Forget the right-wrong conversation for a second, and then try to reinterpret it through your own lens. And say, no. What Jesus really was trying to say is that, everybody gets to go to heaven. No, he wasn't. So, yeah, I don't know, like this whole, like, I feel further away, whether he's actually saying like I'm moving further away. And again, it might seem like that to him, but I just think he's getting actual clarification on what Christianity actually teaches. And I would say this is the double-edged sword nature, the double-edged nature. This is an important point, by the way. This is the double-edged nature of the gospel. But with one of the edges, it's cutting in the sense of convicting and saving and so on and so forth. But with one of the other edges, it's condemning and judging for those who reject it. And there is this aspect of the gospel of Christ, the good news of Christ, both saves and condemns those who reject. So, yeah, again, I don't know much about Akash, but I appreciate Andrew Schultz. Actually, like he cussed a number of times, but he actually controlled his speech, and he said he was like really well. They have chapters here, so I'm trying to see if there's anything else I'd like to focus on. I watched this whole thing, I try to take notes of like stuff I would like to respond to, and I really enjoyed it. But the only thing I wrote down was the thing I reacted to. That I thought was pretty good. Like, hey, well done, man. But again, the overall conversation, I think, and I don't know whether it's like refreshing. I don't know about you guys. It's refreshing to me when people ask me the more simple questions, the more down to earth questions, the questions that your average person who hasn't studied this stuff into, in all the details and stuff like that says, you know what, like, what about this? Right. Or, it's obvious, like they've heard some things and don't know all the details to them and stuff. Let me see. Okay. The whole podcast is 3 hours and 12 minutes. I listened to it at 1.5 the speed, but it's a 3-hour podcast. Now, I did not listen to this in one sitting. It took me about a day and a half to get through the entire thing. Just throughout like I'm driving somewhere and it's 30-minute drive, so I'd listen to it. Driving back, I'd listen to it. Driving back, I couldn't listen to it because my kids were in the car and he, the unexpected words being thrown around, so I didn't want to listen to it with my kids around. And then eventually I listened to it like that when I was alone, and then ended up in my office, sitting down alone and just listening to it. That's how I listen to it. Sometimes you got to be careful. I don't even think 1.5 is saving that one. That's okay. It's completely fine. Hey, so I was supposed to have a Bible study today. Only one person showed up to it, which is very strange because a bunch of people said they were going to show up. And they're supposed to be Thursdays. So if you don't know about that, I realized one of the things I realized afterwards was the chat that I have in Patreon, even though it says it includes everyone, doesn't include everyone. So it seems like as people get added, they don't get added to the chat. And we've had a bunch of people jump on Patreon recently, and I'm assuming it's usually been when I've announced the Bible stuff, so the Bible studies. But it seems like they didn't. Well, I also posted it on the wall. So let's see. Okay, so yeah, I guess you might know better because I don't watch the Flagrant podcast quite often. Akash isn't cool. Any guest he doesn't like, he just disrespects them. Oh, he's also not funny. Yeah, so yeah, I'll keep my opinions on comedians to myself, I guess. A vast majority of comedians nowadays are not funny, in my opinion. They're vulgar, but they're not funny. And they, for some reason, think, especially female comedians, this is one thing I've realized about female comedians. Female comedians tend to be a lot more vulgar than male comedians. And I don't see the reason why. If you got to do that in order to think that you're being funny, it's just, you're missing the point. Really can't get over that Wes has 500,000 followers, and I started following at 13K. That seems like a few months ago. Yeah. There's a guy that's exploded on Instagram. My buddy showed me about him like 5 days ago. And we're talking about it. He's like, man, I started following this guy. He had like 30,000 followers, and you know, he's like sailing. He bought a sailboat and he's sailing. And then he was like, he has 700,000 subscribers now in like a couple of days, I guess. And then he sends me a message a day later or 2 days later and goes, bro, he just passed 1 million followers. His account's like blown up. It's really cool to see. And that's like within a week. Yeah, it is cool that Wes has, like, I've brought Wes up as a connection point to people because I've realized just a lot of people know about him. Obviously because of the Rogan thing. But now on this one, it's really cool. 895,000 subscribers, I think, viewers. I think so. I would agree with you. I think Wes did a really good job sharing the gospel as well. He presented it really well as in regards to what we need. And you know, maybe someone like Akash just generally goes, yeah, I just think Christianity sucks. Like, I don't, you know, but it's not really like he's living with the standards of Hinduism. The post-Carson explosion was the most absurd growth that I've ever seen on the internet. He became a core apologetics empire member essentially overnight. So he was already, like, Wes has been doing apologetics for a long time, Jerome. I mean, maybe you're talking about the internet sort of stuff. But quite a bit of people knew about Wes. Wes had his Instagram following was a lot bigger than his YouTube following. I mean, the way I was introduced to him, I've shared this story before, the way I was introduced to him was one of the guys at our church who followed him on Instagram. He's like, man, you should follow this guy on Instagram. And I did. And I ended up meeting him like a month later. So, yeah, Wes was already doing apologetic sort of stuff. But, yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, the short I had posted about Billy Carson, so I have this short I posted about Billy Carson where he's like, I've been in debates, in real debates. And then he's on, before that, he was on Patrick Bet-David's podcast where he's like, no, I've never really debated anyone. Anybody who wants to debate me wants to chase clout and stuff. So I have a short I posted on that. And that thing almost has 1 million views. And I still get like a couple of hundred views a day on that video. And people like still commenting, can't believe this guy, you know, all this stuff. Like, I've just stopped paying attention to the comments on that video, but it's gotten this channel a lot of subscribers. Very, very interesting. That even though, what is it? Let me see, where is it? It has 99,732 views. My guess is it'll hit. Sorry, did I say million? Wait, hang on. No. This doesn't. I think I might have said my numbers wrong. Sorry, I didn't mean 1 million. I meant 100,000. Yeah, so 100,000. It's all. Yeah, it's got 99,766 views. Probably did hit 100,000. And again, what I'm saying is that it's still going on. Take core member to be anyone I knew about before we found out who you were. Oh, you're not considering me to be a part of the core apologetics empire. Oh, I mean, maybe rightly so. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I should be Jerome. And then, something happens and everybody else finds out and they're like, oh, this guy. Didn't know this guy existed. And you're like, well. Oh, you definitely do. Okay. Thank you. That's just because, we're friends. That's why. That's the only difference. We're friends. This is a really good point, Ivan. Never seen a more perfect example of when opportunity meets preparation with Wes Huff. This is really, really good. Yeah. I mean, considering years and years of preparation, and it's like, boom, and you're set because you've done the grind. And that's really cool because it's refreshing. Because what is it, man? I was watching let me see if I can pull this up. I was watching the Instagram. Trying to hold myself from saying certain things that I'm thinking. And how I would say these things properly. So yeah, like coming across certain Instagram channels and then going, oh wow, like this is interesting. But it's very obvious to me that those individuals don't have preparation. They haven't put in the work to prepare themselves for ministry. And they're saying random stuff. Well, glory to God, man. Let me see, saved. What have I saved here? Oh, I didn't save that one. Yeah, I should have. Gnostic Informant, Myth Vision, and Kip Davis made loads of videos debunking Wes Huff. I'm aware of that. Yeah. I won't comment on that. There's an aspect, there's a part of me that really used to enjoy listening to Derek from Myth Vision. I don't know what's happened. But he's become weirdly cringe to me. And again, there's no better way for me to sort of explain that. He says things. I'll give you a Christian counterpart to this. He says things that I think he's just saying for clickability or something. Yeah. So I think Cameron Bertuzzi's done this to a certain extent. And I'm like, not interested in that. Like, I don't want that. Just for clickability, like, it's very unnecessary. But even stuff he says, I'm just like, I don't know whether you actually believe that. Wes Huff seems like an awesome dude. Hey, he is. You said it, not me. Well, look, to their credit, I mean, these guys, Kip Davis is not a child. Kip Davis knows his stuff really well. And notice I didn't really talk about Gnostic Informant. I just don't know much about the guy, but Kip Davis is very different. He's a scholar in his field. But yeah, I didn't specifically spoke about Derek. 10 on 10. Yeah, again, you guys don't have to agree with me. That's a personal kind of thing. I just told you guys. Cameron made a video like, I'm leaving or something. What was the video Cameron made? And I was like, bro, what are you doing? Like, let me see. Trying to see if that video's still up. So I haven't seen, well, I've watched, it seems like, one of these videos, but he's made some videos on the Mahdi. The Mahdi's guys were live on TikTok today, answering questions and claiming that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. And nobody goes through Father except through him. But you got to listen to Jesus' messengers when he sends them. Very interesting. I caught a little bit of it. He made a video saying, like, I'm leaving. Oh, yeah. He made a video saying, I'm leaving. Bye. Like that. And he's holding up a little thing that says bye. And I thought, and it was like, I think him going on vacation or something. And I was like, really? It's very unnecessary. But when it gets to that level, I'm like, I'm not interested. Wasn't he the guy? Who are we talking about? Derek? Wasn't the guy who debated that with IP on Tim Pool's podcast? I don't know. I don't remember. No, not necessarily like that. That's not true, Jerome. I disagree with you. Yeah, this is a frustration a lot of people have had. Amen. Yes, he is. All the time. All the time. Thanks for being here, you late folks. Jumping in here. We're 50 minutes into this. Okay. And I watched, oh gosh. I was like passively listening. Oh, this is one of the worst conversations I've listened to on the day. I can't believe. So I can't believe I actually listened to the entire thing. Seriously cannot believe this. But I was more so at one point started listening because I just wanted to see how vocab dealt with it. Okay. And It was on Vocab Malone's channel, Vocab's channel. Vocab's a good buddy. And it's this one. And the editing kept me in it. I'll tell you, there's some really, really good editing in it. But he put overconfident and underprepared, and he's absolutely right. This lady was saying the wackiest stuff. She's a Hebrew Israelite. And part of me was like, man, I wish I was in there for some, like, a part of that conversation. Because it would have been very interesting. But this was such a whole, like, Vocab kept us cool, explained things, did everything, I think, right. But talk about someone who doesn't know how to listen. And so, like, whenever I watch stuff like this, it's usually to learn. And also, like, well, how would I handle a situation like that if that ended up on my channel? Because it probably will. And it has, sort of. Sort of. Dude, deconstruction zone is a rising star in the atheist movement. Yeah, belligerent individuals are a rise in any kind of movement, and that's they don't care. They don't care. The thing is, to a certain extent, some of us who do this have to play with certain moral parameters and character. And so there's ways that I can't act. And if I do, it's not becoming of a Christian because I'm not representing myself. I'm representing Jesus. And so there's always a dialing back and a controlling aspect as to the way that at least I do things, but I can pretty confidently say to the way a lot of Christians do things. Not that, like, we want to respond a certain way and so we dial it back. Like, but we're just aware of that. We're aware that, hey, we're Christians. And so we don't want to misrepresent Jesus to the world and to the audience that we have. The issue with some of the atheist folks is they don't care about any of that stuff. They'll say anything and everything that comes to their mind. And yeah, they are going to be, they're going to hit a certain kind of pocket. They're going to hit those guys that are probably sick and tired of Matt Dillahunty and his, weird, strange desires, and end up with listening to those guys because they, look, I can call up atheists on this channel and embarrass them 24/7. No question about it, Sean. I can bait unsuspecting, very low-level atheists, and as Jerome puts it, just farm them. I think that's a proper usage of the word, if I'm not mistaken there, Jerome. Correct me if I'm wrong. And just create clips and put them all over the internet. Atheist gets destroyed by Christian apologists. I can do that all day, man. I can title a stream, "Evolution is stupid and atheists suck." And, they'll come, they'll fall for the bait. They'll try to, drop a link, they'll call in and, or whatever. Atheism is from Satan. Like, anybody can do that. But one of the things we try to do is have, like, my point is not to destroy people. And, even like I got a conversation that I've clipped and put up with you, Sean. But that was a respectful sort of thing. Actual correct use of the term as well. Thank you very much, man. Yes. Applause, ladies and gentlemen. Applause. Let's see. Clapping for myself. I like that. You like what? You like to invite unsuspecting, unknowledgeable atheists and just make fun of them? And develop a channel on that? Or do you like the way I'm doing it. Yeah, I mean, my conscience definitely won't allow to do some of the stuff that other people do on the internet, and just my ethics and morality won't allow me to do certain things. Definitely that some atheists do, and the way they behave. So yeah, you can grow really quickly on the internet if you kind of ignore that there's people behind screens. This guy's son's going to become a Liverpool fan. It's great. And then he's going to become a Liverpool fan. AP said he was happier as a Christian than an atheist. And I saw that. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. How? Oh. You guys, I don't know if you've seen this. I just want you guys to see how miserable some people are in their lives. Like, and they're influential. So I'm going to watch this video with you guys. Okay? Like, and I don't know how much of it I'll watch. But please check this out. Okay. So I saw this live, and then they clipped this and put it out. Again, remember, these are people influencing other people in regards to the way they're living their lives and all that stuff. And then also, like, you get a hint into like what motivates people to do what they do in life when you come across things like this. Okay.
A post the other day, which was simply this here, which was simply nothing except this. It said, "Life is better this way." So I posted a photo from the church that I go to. I posted this, and I just said, "Life is better this way." And, you know, when I post stuff like this, I'm not meaning to tell people, "Hey, church, how dare you? Atheist, I'm coming to subjugate you. You're sick. You're sick. You're sick. You're sick. Humiliated." I mean, all I do is, and we use the channels that we have, no matter what they were built for and what we made them for, to express our place in life and express our state of mind and how we feel right now, right? And I feel very happy at the moment, so I post this online and say, life is better this way. That's all. I personally don't have any problem with Matt Dillahunty. Never did. I always did think that he was a little bit over the top, and he was a little bit, a little bit much in how he responds to people. I also made that quite clear when I...
And I didn't know that AP had been on the Atheist Experience. I found out that he'd been on the Atheist Experience from this video.
Was when I co-hosted Atheist Experience with him, I would kind of cut him off sometimes when he would go too hardcore into, I don't know. We were talking to some woman who was like feeling very upset and found some hope in belief in God, and he was like just attacking her for that and mocking her, and I was like, oh, whoa, hold up. So he has a messed up side, but he also can be very, very nice and upstanding and can be very good on a personal level. But since I started making my my conversion to Christianity now, and he has been a little bit problematic about it. And he said in response to me just posting this, "Prove it and prove that the claims are true. Until then, your faith-based performance like Ayan's is just trading one convenient master for another."
So, okay, like, bro, whenever something like this happens, if somebody does that to me, my question is to them, and I've asked this a lot to other people, and I'm not trying to be funny with it. It's a sincere question. Okay, you guys ready for this? And here's the question. Do you have any friends? Do people like hanging around you? Because you can't be this kind of an individual. Like, I just really can't see it, where you're like that. You're so blind to your surroundings, and people want to hang out with you all the time, like genuine friendships. No, there's a saying amongst young Armenian men, or there was, I hope there still is the idea of tell me who your friends are and I will tell you who you are. This idea of like, we're going to judge you based on the friend group that you have. And this guy's like, life is happier this way. And then Matt Dillahunty's response is, prove it and prove the claims are true. Like, brother, he doesn't have to. He's just happier. You realize that's, even if it's false, it's a internal state of affairs that he holds to. Like, I acknowledge that quite a bit of people are happy being a part of different religions or no religion at all. I can actually admit that some people are happier when they stop being Christians for various reasons. And, you know, we can give explanations. And this guy's immediate thought is something like, prove it and prove. This is why I don't spend a lot of time on Twitter. Prove it.
Right. All you said is life is better this way. Prove that it's better. Well, keep in mind, what would your claim be based on? It would just be based on your experience, right? Yeah. Like, hey, I've lived like this and I've lived like that, and life is better this way. Prove it.
I mean, so this is a guy who's lived as a Muslim, who's lived as an atheist, and is living as a Christian now, and he goes, man, like I'm enjoying life a lot more now.
It's funny because, Matt, you're kind of proving it for him, because if the alternative is being a sniveling little crybaby who's a...
Yeah. Bro, is this the atheist version of, like, coping? Can't be a real Christian. There's no way this guy became a Christian. I'm pretty sure AP was already making money just as an atheist. Oh gosh, you guys can't. I can't. I can't, Sean. Sean, I hope you haven't heard someone like, or I hope somebody said that. You're just repeating it, but that's silly, man. I don't understand how you can possibly lose any optics war to AP and Wood, but Dylan somehow does. Oh man, Jerome, that's like the meanest compliment to give to, they'll be fine with it. But that's what I mean. Like, hey, do you have any friends? This is a great question. You guys, I should coin that. Maybe we should make a shirt that says, do you have any friends? Once, still haven't resolved our shirt situation.
Obsessed with whining about stuff that should make absolutely no difference to you because it's all meaningless. Well,
so he posted this, and I really liked that Amy Alkin.
Look at this. So other atheists start commenting on Matt Dillahunty, and I'm really happy that other atheists did, because I frankly think atheist people like Matt Dillahunty are not good for the conversation, and Christian people who are like Matt Dillahunty are not good for the conversation, frankly put.
Actually came in and said, oh, come on, I'm an atheist, and I used to be an asshole atheist, especially in my 20s, but I took a look at myself and removed the asshole portion of that. I don't have to believe as others to be happy that they get comfort community and other things that work for them out of their religion. It's small and ugly to go around rising up below some post where someone has expressed some joy or satisfaction about their religion.
There will be no joy or satisfaction
and demean them. You perhaps tell yourself you're doing something meaningful. You're not. No one is persuaded by the approach you took. In fact, I can imagine that people who are religious would be so off-put by this ugly behavior that they would find the notion of even considering whether there's something to the atheist viewpoint extremely distasteful. Heck of a job, Brownie.
She's absolutely correct.
Black Angels said AP's hobby is to cause fights on X. This is true. This is now the 60th fight that I caused this week.
That's like the Apostle Paul, man. When he went in front of we brought it up before. When he went in front of the Pharisees and the Sadducees didn't believe in the resurrection.
So then he put, I'm a Christian now, Matt. My life is better this way. I am better. Why does this bother you? That's a legitimate question. Like, why is Matt Dillahunty bothered by this atheist becoming a Christian?
But the Pharisees did, and he says, "Hey, I'm just being brought in here because I believe in the resurrection." And then they all start arguing with each other. But that's like AP. Hey, look, life is better.
How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? So let's say AP stands for aorta poisoner, the great divider of men. Mother Queen, when AP still atheist, you're a closet Christian. When AP becomes a Christian, prove it. The funny thing is that I got lots of responses from people. Oh yeah, I asked him, I am a Christian now, Matt. This is, by the way, the first time that I referred to myself as a Christian, because I thought...
I noticed that. I was like, I thought he wasn't referring to himself as a Christian.
I thought it's time, bro. I'm a Christian now, Matt. My life is better this way. I am better. Why does this bother you? He then responded to it, because you pretended to be a skeptic and then adopted...
This is interesting. Okay, and this is... Just again, because we're talking about evangelism here as well. The ability to listen to people that are sitting in front of you or you're reading their stuff is extremely important. Okay, so this guy says this, and then Dillahunty's response is, "You weren't a real skeptic. You weren't It's the equivalent, you guys. It's the equivalent of people saying, like, someone's been a Christian for 20 years, and people coming and saying you weren't a real Christian. You were faking it for those 20 years." Right. And again, some people say that, and I think it's a cop-out. I say that to my Christian friends who say that. And they say that because they have a certain theological point. They have a certain theological view that forces them to say that. But if you're an open-minded, truth-seeking atheist, you don't have a theological point that's guiding this sort of a view. So I don't see why you would say that. At least they have the reason of like, hey, my theology essentially makes me conclude this.
Faith-based position that you do not defend, yet publicly support as if is true. You choose comfort over truth. You misrepresented yourself to those of us who promote... Is that really what this is about? Wait. His problem here is that I misrepresented myself as a skeptic to those like him who promoted me. He wasn't... I'm sorry, I'm not sure what he's taking credit for, but my interactions with Matt Dillahunty only came into play like very, very recently.
You became popular for making brutal videos, making fun of Islam and exposing Islam. That's why you became popular. It wasn't because of Matt Dillahunty gave you the thumbs up and then you took off. What sort of fantasy land does this guy live in?
Because he pretended to be a skeptic. I said, what do you mean pretended? I was a skeptic, and to a great deal very much am. People who have watched me know that I've engaged with Christians respectfully, but with strong disagreements for many years. I don't tell people they should convert. Why do you come at me? And this is my whole point here. I never look. I have talked about Islam for years. I never went up to Muslims on their pages and said, "Oh, you believe in stupid nonsense. Why would you believe in that? How dare you? What is your proof? Prove it." When people made public videos advocating for Islam, I did respond to them, right? When people made posts advocating for Islam, I did respond to those. I never went to people and acted like, "How dare you? Why would you believe in this? Why would you not believe in that? Prove to me that this is true. Prove to me that this is not true." I never engaged in this behavior. I didn't do this to atheists. I didn't do this to Christians. I didn't do it even to Muslims. It's kind of weird that people come to me, and just because I express my own feelings, I say it right here, and also my beliefs, people come at me like, "Oh, why would you do this? How dare you? How dare you?" And he even challenges me to a debate and says I would never debate him. He's acting like Muhammad Hijab. It's so weird.
He challenges him to a debate. So why would you want to debate a guy like that?
Acting like Muhammad Hijab.
I challenge you to Mubahala. Mubahala. We will ask Chance to curse the liar.
Matt Dillahunty, I hereby challenge you to a Mubahala and a cage fight at the same time. And also, while we're doing a cage fight and a Mubahala, we can also debate.
Yeah.
If you don't accept it, you're a coward.
You're a coward and a liar, not a real atheist. Any true atheist would do it.
Accept my Mubahala, Judge. Come on. How dare you? So this is what Matt Dillahunty does about this topic. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like it. Oh yeah, here. I'm live at 2 p.m. Central. We're happy to give you time to defend your beliefs publicly today. So, why? Why? Why do I have to? Why do I have to? Why would I want to defend my beliefs? I'm not interested in going out and preaching my beliefs. I'm not interested in convincing you. Why do you? Oh, you believe something? How about you come here and defend your beliefs?
I am the belief police.
Okay, so like, that's the sort of stuff I'm talking about. Like, again, Christian, atheist, Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, whatever you might be. I don't care. If you haven't developed the ability to listen to an individual in front of you, or just like be like, oh man, it's Easter. This guy went to church. Good for him. Congratulations, you weirdo. You believe in a fairy tale person. It's like a guy who had a really bad marriage. Right. You see this in comedy skits a lot, but it's a guy who had a really bad marriage and has been divorced like 3 times, or bad marriages. And then some guy goes with like enthusiasm that he's going to get married. He's like fallen in love, head over heels. He's about to propose. And he tells this guy, like, guys, I'm so happy. I'm about to propose to this girl. And then this one guy just goes, marriage, waste of time and energy and money. Why would you do it? It's like ruins it. Like, brother, why are you talking? That's what I picture with folks like this. And again, I don't care. Christian, atheist, it doesn't matter to me. If your personality is like that, the problem's not your worldview. The problem is your personality. You got a personality issue, right? This is a good question. Let's look up the passage. Okay, because it could be argued. So check this out. Get ready here. So the thing is, you don't have to publicly, right? I think that's what he's talking about. That's the context of it. But even in regards to what you're talking about, so 3:15. But check this out. But listen here. So, in your hearts, honor Christ the Lord as holy, always being prepared. So there's an aspect of preparation to make a defense to anyone who asks you for a reason. So there's this thing of being asked. So in regards to the way you're asking your question here, Jerome, is that isn't there tension there because he's not like looking to spread it out or something like that? Well, the response could be, I'm just going to live my Christian life. And if people want to ask and know, then I'll give them a response. But I'm not an evangelist, right? I'm like, my life's work isn't to go. Like, so if I was AP, maybe I would say, well, look, maybe David's kind of life's work is that. Or if I were to use myself as an example, maybe Arthur has made his life's work that. But that's not my life's work. I just want to live my Christian life. And I'm a public personality and people know I'm a Christian. And I'm finding out this stuff and I'm learning and I'm really new and early stages to this. So I'm not going to go out there and debate and do these things. And I don't think there is tension for him to say that when it comes to that text. Because again, he could just be living his faith out and his family members say, hey, tell us what's going on. And then now he shares that. And I think he'd be faithful to that text. But I don't think 1 Peter 3:15 and 16 or 15 is telling us that, like, go out and do that. I mean, there are other passages I would recommend and suggest that it does tell us to go out, but those could be, again, contextually understood in regards to one's life calling, one's gifting. And so I think the least someone should be doing is preparing themselves. Preparation matters so that when people ask you for the hope that you have a response for them. But that doesn't necessarily mean everybody becomes an evangelist or a missionary or something like that. Like, you're a mechanic, continue being a mechanic. Love Jesus and love the people that you serve as a mechanic. There shouldn't be any issues there. Hey man, I just caught this comment. Doesn't need friends when he has his girlfriend. That's a messed up comment, just saying. Yeah. Well, he doesn't have to defend his belief. Right. Implying that he never has to give some defense. Well, very frankly, I get what you're saying. I mean, very frankly, he could just tell people, well, here's what Jesus did in my life. And I'm happy with that. And his defense might be, hey, my life's changed. I'm happier. That's, you guys, that's a legitimate defense. And again, saying I'm happier is a legitimate defense. It might not be very powerful. It might be very convincing. But it's not if somebody went through that, if you got a guy who's not very educated, doesn't really get into the kind of stuff that we get into, he became a Christian, his life's changed, he's happier, and people say, hey, what's going on, all this stuff, and he goes, man, I don't know, start following Jesus, I'm a lot happier, that's all I need. Like, that's legitimate. He doesn't need to necessarily go become a philosopher. Now, I would recommend that he grows in his faith and has answers that are better for other people and the questions that other people are asking. But in regards to his personal conviction and what he's going through in his life, I think that's completely fine. There's no question about that. Yeah, I don't think Matt has an open heart to any of this stuff, man. If there's the one guy that seems like he doesn't have a really big open heart towards this, it's him. Yeah, like, so for me, there's a couple of things that I think are important in the way we think about this. The reasons why I believe and the effects of following Jesus in my life don't necessarily have to be the reasons why you would believe and what it would look like in your life. It doesn't. I could think a certain argument or whatever is more convincing, or I have a certain life experience that convinces me that God exists and Jesus is God and all this stuff. And then for you, it's a different situation. So I think if somebody's going to be involved in that, we obviously would want to train ourselves in ways to answer questions that other people are asking, not necessarily questions we're asking, or not even things that would convince us. Now, you might say, well, there might be a lot of people like you, and that would be a fitting argument to give towards people that are like you. And I'd say, cool, no problem. I mean, that goes on any side. That works on any side. Okay? So, be very careful. This is a very important distinction, I guess, that when we do apologetics, we're not, number one, telling everyone to become an apologist. Number two, we are not saying everybody needs to become a scholar in certain things. And then there's a distinction between arguments you present to other people or reasons you give towards other people versus the reasons why you believe. There's very clearly a difference there. It's because he knows he'll lose against Dillahunty. Or Dillahunty will just get up and walk away if somebody calls in to question his sexual ethics, huh? Question. If a Mormon claims to be happier since giving his life to Mormon Jesus, how can we explain why he is happier? Well, there could be many reasons why someone's happier. It depends what they came from. I mean, I've seen people leave Christianity and become atheists, and they say they're happier. And then I question them as to what's going on, and you realize they came from a very aggressively legalistic family. I'm just giving you one thing that's come to my mind. And kind of under lots of pressure and all that stuff. And so there's a certain kind of freedom they have in their life, and so therefore they feel happier because of that. Social community. There's a lot of people who become Christians, and they're happier because now they have friends. They have a church community to be a part of. And I could give you very similar reasons as to why somebody would go become a Mormon and feel happier in many ways. I mean, that's not a complicated question. We can give it for any group of individuals. The other day I was watching, who's this? There's a, I don't know whether I should say she was a model or whatever. It's just personality, who's become a Muslim. And she's like more vocal about becoming a Muslim and all this stuff. And she went, I think, from, questionable, I guess, posts on the internet in regards to her body and stuff like that. And now she's full on in a hijab and all this stuff. And she was talking about how much happier she is and all this stuff. Like, I legitimately just believe that she is. That doesn't mean that thing is true. That's not a truth claim. All it's telling me is about the internal psychological realities of a person who makes that claim. And you don't have to like dunk on that, right? Like, you don't have to be Matt Dillahunty. Prove it. It's like, prove what? That I'm happier? Maybe she is happier. Or maybe the example you're giving, they are happier. And let's just say they are. There's a big difference between stuff that we believe internally that makes us happy or sad or joyful or whatever, versus whether the things we're believing in are true or not. Those don't always have to correlate, is what I'm trying to say. And I think it's a legitimate reason for someone to say, well, my life's better. I treat my wife kinder. I'm nicer to my kids. I'm more of a present father. And yeah, so whether it's Mormonism or Islam or something like that, Christian theology actually has a category for this. We put it into the category of common grace, that we're made in God's image. If people generally do kind of the wisdom-like things that are presented in the book of Proverbs, then I think overall their lives will look better. If you're a hardworking individual, you're probably going to have a certain kind of success. That's all I'm saying. There's just general wisdom that if you apply in your life, it will be better. So if you go, this religion teaches us we should be faithful. Let's just say, right? Like, there's a religion X. And it teaches, be faithful to your spouse. And it's like, oh man, I went from being a guy who was always cheating on my wife and stuff, and I converted to, I became a Jehovah's Witness, let's just say. And now I'm a lot happier because I'm not cheating on my wife. There's no tension in our marriage. My kids see me all the time. And it's like, well, my life's just generally better. Like, I don't have to dunk on you in order to prove that Jehovah's Witnesses are false. I legitimately can understand why you have a better outlook and you're happier in your life, and I can still maintain that Jehovah's Witnesses are false. Those are not an either-or conversation. And a lot of people don't know how to tell the difference between those things. So they'll dunk on you. They'll call you fake. They say, you weren't really this, you weren't really that. And it's like, no. What are you talking about? They were. Arthur's preaching. I'm trying not to. I'm not. His believe as many true things and few false things mantra alone explains Dillahunty's behavior. Not gonna lie. Yeah, I mean, maybe so. I mean, if your entire existence is based on believing as many true things as few false things. I mean, I can say a couple of things about that, about him personally, but that's like the point of your existence. My question generally is why? Because then you got to justify that in some metaphysical kind of ontological thing. Like, you got to establish it as some kind of like intellectual honesty, like intellectual virtues, some kind of an ethical conversation, to say that's like the best thing to do. I think it'll fall apart when you really push it to its core. Wow, that's mean, bro. I don't know how much older he is than me. Hey, folks, let me just throw this out there again for some of you guys who weren't there, who weren't here in the beginning of this video. we have partnered up with Logos Bible Software and are offering a 60-day trial. The link to that is in the description box. If you go to logos.com/Apologia Center, you'll come across this. You can sign up for it. And after 60 days, if you don't like the software, you can get rid of it, or you can keep it and do your Bible studies through it and add books to it, and all those really fun things. So every time you see me have my Bible on the screen, I'm using Logos Bible Software. I really, really love the software. I think it's great. So check that out. And then we also want to do these Bible studies on Thursday mornings at 9:30 a.m. I want to do a Bible study through the book of Ecclesiastes, and I was here today, and I had my camera on. I had everything ready to go, the passage ready. I got my commentary on the side, study notes, and all that stuff. And we didn't do it because we had one other person show up. And I don't want these Bible studies to be lecture-oriented, and he couldn't interact much. He just kind of wanted to listen in. And I said, I want interaction in these Bible studies. So if you're interested in that, jump onto Patreon. You don't have to pay. Just become a free Patreon member. And all the information about that is on Patreon. Not yet. I want to be careful with that, because if AP became a Muslim instead, the apologetics empire would definitely be asking him to explain himself in something. I don't have an issue with people asking him to explain himself. I guess the question here, Jerome, is not that people ask AP to explain all that. The problem I have is the setting in which they're asking. So I'll give you an example. Suppose there's an atheist guy that's a nihilist. Okay, he believes in nihilism. And, he's married, he has a kid, and, he posts a picture of his baby and says, wow, this gives me great happiness in life and X, Y, and Z. And then the first comment you see from me is, how dare you as a nihilist be happy over the birth of your child? And, there is no purpose to life and all this stuff. Like, you'd look at that and say, what a tone-deaf idiot this guy is. I think that's legitimate because the context matters. It's Easter. The guy went to church, or it's Good Friday, I think, when he posted that. He went to church, and he's like, man, I'm so much happy. Let me share this with the world. And the response is not like, it's not in the sense of like, hey, we're having a conversation about that subject. And he's like, well, I just converted to Christianity and all this. And then somebody says, hey, what would be like an evidence or a proof you would give for me to become a Christian, or why anybody else becomes a Christian? That it is seriously a common sense issue. It's having the common sense to know when to talk and what to talk about, like what the nature of a conversation is. That's the problem. So, I don't know, man, because it doesn't get any more cringy than that. It really doesn't. And again, whether somebody is a Christian, whether they're an atheist, doesn't matter. There's personalities like this who don't understand social cues. That's essentially what it comes down to. And this is why I say, this is why I say, do you have any friends? Like this guy must not have any friends. I don't know, maybe he might be a really popular guy. Well, yeah, maybe not. I mean, I thought that you'd say something like that, but I don't really know what Dillahunty could say, and that's nothing. He shouldn't say anything. That's my point. In that situation, sorry, in order to fish for a conversation. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's just better to shut your mouth. And I don't know, maybe he could have responded with something like, "Hey, AP, I'm glad you're happier. But how about would you be willing to sit down and talk about kind of the reasons why you've made this change?" That would probably do a lot better than prove it. Like, especially if there's like relational equity to a certain extent. Like, he's been on your show. They know each other. And that gives you a different kind of interaction. You tell me, man. Would that not have been a better answer if he was like, "Yeah, I'm glad you're happier"? But, you would have to have a certain kind of maturity. I refrain from using the word intelligence there because quite a bit of people are highly intelligent and don't have that kind of maturity or wisdom, maybe, to say something like that. Yeah, that would work. I think he would have gone way further with a conversation like that. And you think about it, and dude, I know like 10-year-olds, right? I know like 15-year-olds that have the wisdom to formulate a comment like that. And this is why I'm saying it's not an intelligence issue. It's a wisdom issue. It's a maturity issue. But then maybe that makes me less hesitant to listen to other stuff and the other sort of things that you do generally in life. Yeah, you're right. He wouldn't lose the optics for 100%. Like, if you're a 50-year-old man, I'll give you an example. I visited my friend, who's also my mentor in Wisconsin, who used to do street ministry together. This is when I was, how old was I? 20, before I was married. I was like 24, 25. So I visited my buddy, and we went out. He was like, "Hey man, let's go out street preaching." I was like, "Cool." There's this whole event that was happening. So we went out street preaching. And we're talking to people and all this stuff. And then there's a guy that comes up, and we get into a conversation, and he's disagreeing with the morals of Christianity. And he's an older gentleman. He's significantly older than me at that moment, right? So I'm about 25. This guy is significantly older than me. I was actually 25, I remember. And I'll tell you why I remember I was exactly 25. So we're having this conversation, and this guy's, there's a lady standing next to him. I'm assuming that's his wife. And in the midst of this conversation, he sounds like a teenager. And I was sort of like, "How old are you, man?" And he goes, 50. This is why I remember that I was 25. Because I was like, "You're double my age." And so we get into this conversation. I figure out that's not his wife, that's his girlfriend. And I was like, "Why aren't you married?" Because the conversation essentially was revolving around, sexual, ethics and stuff. And he's like, "Oh man, I'm just trying to live my life," and all this stuff, right? Like saying stuff that, maybe a 20-year-old says. And then his girlfriend is like, "Yeah, you tell him," to me, telling me to tell that guy that you need to mature. I literally told the guy, "You need to mature up and get married." And I couldn't believe that I was standing there telling a 50-year-old man, "You need to mature up and get married. You're acting like a kid." And his girlfriend standing there saying, he really needs to hear this. there are people like that. Like, would I take life advice from that guy? Probably not. Would I take life advice from Matt Dillahunty on how I should be sensible to those around me? Probably not. Hey, been saying it for a long time. So just telling you, and it's not towards only younger people. I've been saying that for a long, long time. It's interesting to me. It tells me a lot of things about people when I ask them how old they are and they tell me. And just general curiosity. I've always not been a fan of folks saying things like, don't ever ask a lady her age. She's like, why? Social things like that really, really bug me. It's like I can guess, but that probably wouldn't go so well. I'd rather just know. So asking how old you are rather than being like, are you 45? And they're like, what? No, I'm 35. And you're like, oh man, I just, didn't go so well. So I just ask, especially when people say silly things, or when I'm talking to someone and they're saying really mature things. And I go, wow, how old are you? And they're like, oh man, I'm 17. I'm like, bro, props to you. You are mature. You are mature for your age. So that matters. Okay. Let's call it a day, guys. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Will I see you tomorrow? Hang on. I got a couple of meetings tomorrow. I will see you tomorrow. I just won't see you. My guess is I'll see you around 2:30 tomorrow, about the same time. It might be like 3 Pacific Standard Time. Again, hey, we've partnered up with Logos Bible Software. Make sure you go check it out. Go to logos.com/Apologia Center. You get 60 days off, 60 days free, guys. Use the software. Don't like it. And I really, really like this software. I really do. I wouldn't recommend it if I didn't. And then also, where is it? Oh, I got rid of it. Okay. Check out in the description box the masterclass, the debate masterclass that Nate Salas put together. Nate Salas from The Wise Disciple. Go check that out as well. It's a whole course he's put together. It's taken him a while to put that together, so I really want to promote that. So with all that said, God bless you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Be well. Take care.